Hey everyone, it's Shelly Hoffman with Heart Home Community here, literally in the heart of Beeville. I'm sitting in my building today, Mayor, at 12 Oswego Street. I love the feel of this building, like in the vibe, the heart of the village, you know?
Yeah,
So, how are you doing? Enjoying the
I'm doing
sunshine?
I'm doing pretty good. We've been keeping busy, doing our jigsaw puzzles, and now that it's nice out, we've been outside more. We were outside yesterday and ran a couple of safe distancing kind of errands. I had to stop at Village Hall and sign a contract, and we had to swap puzzles with somebody, run up on their porch and grab ours and leave theirs, and but it was nice because it's just nice to see the river and know that the world's still going on, even though sometimes our life doesn't feel like it is. But you got to make the best of it. I see people in our neighborhood doing a lot of nice things, and to kind of to wander off for just a second, I think some good things are going to come out of this. I see um, guys who I assume are dads or granddads. It's hard to, they're that in between age,
Yeah.
out bicycling with 3 or 4 kids. Probably wouldn't have had time for that otherwise. That might be a lifetime changer. Um, I'm guessing, some of us older folks talk about the day when we all sat down and ate dinner together at 5:30 or something like that. And I'm guessing some families are doing that for the first time in a long time.
Hmm.
There's no sports, there's no band, there's no, dad's not working overtime, mom's not working overtime, everybody's home. We sit down at the kitchen table and hey, I think I know you, don't I? You're my family. So I hope that people will take a second and at least look at things like that and say, I got to spend more time with my kids. It's my son's or daughter is a grad going off to college. This will be the last time, and I had an extra month or so just to sit around and play Yahtzee with them and laugh and watch a video with them, and that maybe they would have been too busy. I'd have been too busy. So let's hope that some of the good stuff is what people can remember later.
Yeah.
Um, Getting on to a little bit of what we got going on. I got a call this morning from Steve D'Arcangelo at the DPW. Um, the village is late in getting some part-time people on board because we really didn't know what was going to happen. Um, and now we're up kind of going full steam, and we need some of our lawnmowers back, and we are in need of a gardener. The gal who did it last year, people probably saw her with a little dog, Buddy Bidwell,
Yeah.
and she was very friendly, so we did get to know her. She's got other employment now, so if anybody out there is looking for some part-time work, and would be like a maximum of 20 hours, might be less than that, between 10 and 20 hours a week. um, and you get to plant flowers and then go around and take care of them during the summer, make sure the weeding so that they look nice, and when the flower buds die off, you pick, deadhead them, that type of stuff. Call Steve D'Arcangelo at 635-9665,
Okay.
and probably can get started at any time. I mean, if you're maybe laid off and don't think you're going to be going back to work for a while, this is a good chance to make up a little money. Or if you're just a retired person who loves that kind of stuff, you get gardening, you get to see the village.
Right.
People walk by, talk about the flowers and how much they like them and that type of stuff. So um, there's a job opening. It's amazing how many people are hiring. We just went by Stewart's and they have a sign out front that they're hiring. So if people are looking for work, um, may not be exactly what your lifetime dream is to be dishing out ice cream cones at Stewart's or whatever, but for time being, might plug a gap. Um, there are other places. I saw Spectrum was hiring over 100 people.
Hmm.
So there's going to be some jobs going at Amazon pretty soon. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it's not till next fall, but I'm guessing they'll be hiring by the end of the year to get ready for next fall. So if people are in need of work, there is some out there. I did get a note from the Canal Corp people that the plan is for our lock, um, basically from Oneida Lake to Montezuma, that stretch, to be open by the 4th of July. I
Okay.
sent back a note this morning saying, is it possible it would be before the 4th of July? If it's going to be mid-June, they're just giving you the 4th of July is the latest it would open. That would be nice for people to know. I also asked them about if there was a chance they might put buoys out before then, because that might dictate whether we put our docks out. So, but things are moving. It's nice to know that we're heading in that direction. I know that the county executive talked yesterday about the reopening of some businesses. There is a website, www.ongoved.com. And on that site, there's two possibilities. You can question whether you're eligible to reopen. If you're not certain, it goes down and explains who is included in this reopening. It also gives you an area to report if you think somebody opened who shouldn't be open. They mentioned that there was an establishment on the north side of the city that they had to do something with, apparently opened up full bore, and got told, no, you can't do that. So if you have a concern, that's where to go. ongoved.com.
Nice. I've talked to a couple people in the community and different schools of thoughts. I think it depends on where you are in the range of how easy you think COVID-19 is to get, or how easily it's spread. Because even phase 2 coming, which we're hoping is May 29th, in the same industry, some people are talking about opening, and some people are saying they're going to wait another phase. They're going to let that, kind of watch and wait. So, for the public, just because something can open, there's a chance that they may not open just yet. Steve Ladd over in Haran, he had talked about, when they can go back to the office, because they got everything set up to be at a home. I talked to him a couple weeks ago that they didn't just want to run back to the office to have a spike in COVID-19 to have to reestablish at home. So even when they can open, they're doing it slow. Karen Delaney is going to come on at 10 o'clock on Friday and talk about some changes she's making for when she can, reopen and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how people do it as well, I think.
Yeah, I've talked to our department heads and told them that I would like them to come up with their vision if we're told municipal buildings can reopen. And I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit split, but mostly people thinking, let's don't rush.
Yeah.
We're talking about the possibility of a buzzer at the door with a camera, so that if somebody said, I need to talk to somebody, we can let them in, but otherwise, just drop it in the drop box. Or if it's a police business, as Mike said to me yesterday, half of the people who come to the front door of the police station and come in and say, is this where I pay my water bill? Where do I get a permit to build a deck? So he said, in a situation of the police department, that front hallway, if you've ever been in there, is how our officers get from their locker room to the police station, per se. They have to go through that little lobby. And if you've got people standing in there, 3 or 4 people waiting in line to talk to somebody, it puts our officers at risk. So the less traffic in that area, the better. So we'll be able to control it better. If it's somebody looking for a handicap sticker, well then, do you have a mask? Please put it on. Come in, there's sanitary wipe right there. Please give your hands a little scrubbing before we start swapping papers and stuff. And I know that Maureen Butler has some of the same concerns over in Village Hall. It's always been open. People come in, pay their bills, spend 5-10 minutes visiting with everybody. That may not happen, at least not for a while. And who knows, maybe the future says it's just better not to have people coming in and hanging in the lobby. I mean, there's sometimes you go in the lobby and there's 5, 6, 7, 8 people all showing up to pay their water bill at the same time. Obviously, we can't have that now for a while until this gets under control. So we're looking at, I hate the expression, the new normal, but it sort of is that. Whether we want people to just be having unfettered access to our people, or do we want to have a way of saying, if all you need is a building permit, Greg will bring it out to you. So we're still examining a lot of that. I have got to talk to the judge today because courts are starting to loosen up a little bit. One of our employees has been allowed to come back to work to get on the computer to begin doing some of that kind of stuff. Not ready to go to opening the courts. Excuse me. That may be one of the harder things we have to figure out, because that's a pretty big conglomeration of people, and we may have to go to the system where everybody has checked in ahead of time with a phone number and then sits in their car and waits until they get called to come in the building. But then after everybody leaves, we're probably going to have somebody clean the building down. We have restrooms that are open. Yeah, we're a public building. I believe we probably have to have the restrooms open. I'm not 100% sure on that, so I should be a little careful. But after you've had 50 people come in and use restrooms, we would probably have to have somebody there that night to clean the restrooms, clean the meeting room, courtroom down, wash chairs, all that kind of stuff. So a lot to think about. Village board meetings would be a little easier. We probably would keep our distancing, spread people out around the room a little bit, sort of what Lysander does, that type of thing. So we still have those things to look at. And, I'm guessing it's going to stay, I don't know if awkward's the right word, but something we're not used to for a while.
Well, and part of it too, though, Mayor, is because we're so used. I mean, when you think of Baldwinsville, the sense of community, right? So those 7 people gathered around to pay their water bill. Sometimes that's when you find out there's a new business opening. That's sometimes when you find out so-and-so moved or had a grandbaby, or, you know what I mean? Like, social media is great for sharing that stuff, but that personal one-on-one conversation, hey, I saw so-and-so at the post office. And, that's the sadness that comes with, being healthy. It's a give and a take. But as I listen to you, I think, oh my goodness, all the little tidbits of information I've gotten when I've stopped in to talk to Greg, asking about some code things and whatnot, have nothing to do with codes. I ended up getting it from the police chief or, somebody else who just happened to be in that hallway. So there's I have enough common sense to understand why it needs to happen, but there's a sadness with that. Like when you said, an awkwardness to it,
Very much. And that's kind of what's made our village unique, is that we have that contact. And when people come into the lobby, that's when they say, have you ever tried to pull out of Seneca Street? There's a tree right there. It makes it really hard to see. Well, then I can call Steve. He can send his guys over and with a saw and cut back some branches, and it's taken care of. If we don't have an open lobby, we don't see that person. They probably don't pick up the phone to call. So we might have to find other ways to do things, where we have more of this kind of a communication where I can have people see me and contact me, maybe call me live on the air to tell me things. I don't know, but it might open up some new avenues of communication, because we don't want to lose that contact. One thing that got brought up by the county executive was that Oneida Shores will be open for this weekend. They've got a unique setup. They've divided the beach up. They're limiting how many people can come in. So somebody at the beach will be in touch with the person at the gate and say, we've got our limit. Nobody else can get in until you see 4 people leave, then 4 more can go in. It'll be interesting to see how it works. If everybody is comfortable with, well, I just drove all the way here, you're going to tell me I can't get in there, and it might be more fun than anybody anticipated. But it's nice to see that some things are starting to loosen up, and let's hope that it's with good information, that the virus won't wreak havoc on everybody. Somebody said to me the other day, are you going to hang in your basement until you find a vaccine? I said, no, but I'm going to be cautious. I mean, I'm not going to wander into a group of 15 people and assume that every one of them's healthy. Kind of crazy. I mean, I don't have a need to have to do that. I mean, I'm going to choose to be cautious. And then, of course, they say, well, I don't choose to be not cautious. So please stay away from me.
Yes, different sides. We just had a question, Mayor, about Canton Woods. Any idea on the phases or anything about when Canton Woods would open?
We did talk yesterday, Ruth and I, and she asked me what I thought. She's thinking probably phase 4, when everything else can open up. But I just saw casinos, or some of the casinos are opening, limited type use, but opening. The hard part, of course, with the senior center is we're talking about our vulnerable age people.
Right.
And now we're going to bring them all in and cluster them. And
Yeah.
that could be really disastrous. So it may be pieces of Canton Woods open up. I mean, we may be able to have people come in and speak, and have chairs spread out so nobody's within 10 feet of each other, because it's a big enough room you can do that. They may do more stuff outdoors. When the weather, you get a 70-degree day, you could have your exercise classes out in the parking lot in the back, or in the pavilion. Some of that type of stuff.
Okay.
I'm sure the ones that people are concerned about are playing cards, but when they have bridge, and they have 100 people.
Wow.
4 of them at a table, and the
Yeah.
tables are close. I don't know how that would be like the last step, I think. I hate to discourage anybody, but I have a feeling that would be at the end of the cycle. I had asked Ruth to check with the Office for the Aging, because they have a link to all the senior centers, so that are we going to open the front door so anybody can just wander in and come up to the desk? Or, stuff's got to be figured out. And it's until we are talking about it, but at this point, nothing's been decided, and we've heard nothing from above to say that it's going to happen soon. So it's probably going to be later. And I know that probably discourages some of the seniors. But believe me, Ruth and Joan and those people are looking at things that they might be able to do that would be maybe a poor substitute, but at least it would be something.
Okay.
So keep your eyes and ears open. On the senior center, they are sending out a newsletter. May get it today. Normally the newsletter is about 8 pages. It's only going to be 2, but it is kind of updating on what's going on at the senior center. Ruth said she continues to get a lot of calls for masks, and she's been trying to supply them as much as she can. If there is a site, the Canton Woods Senior Activity Group, CWSAG may be what they go by. And George Leah, who is quite a talented singer, guitar player, was over at Canton Woods, sat out on the front porch, sang 3 songs dedicated to all the seniors. And so that's been posted on the site. Kathy Hogan kind of has taken charge of that site, and so she posted that. So for any seniors that are watching, if you haven't gone on that Facebook site, or you're not on Facebook, maybe you want to get on Facebook, because that senior group may be one of your links to finding out what's going on. My wife and I posted a greeting the other day, hoping everybody was doing well, and couldn't wait to get back to the senior center to see everybody, and hoping that they stay safe. So they've been fairly active in trying to get faces on there so people can see some of their friends and so on. But so George is kind of reminds me of a Paul Simon kind of a singer, and he plays his own guitar, and so he had a nice little greeting for the seniors.
That's nice. We did have somebody, Trish, she says she has some masks if Ruth wants to contact her. So that's nice. Maybe you can get some more donations through this, but somebody did just mention they had some masks for her.
That's what this is great for. Excuse me. I did see yesterday that the governor had said that Memorial Day was important, and if people wanted to have vehicle parades limited, he thought that would be okay. Well, as the county executive said, kind of late to plan something like that. We had to make decisions earlier.
Yeah.
But we don't want to downplay the significance of Memorial Day, which is celebrated on Monday, but which we in Baldwinsville recognize on May 30th as the original Memorial Day. And that's when we always have our parades and stuff.
Okay. So that's the day that, and I keep harping on this because I never knew that it happened. That's the day that the ceremony where they place the wreaths in the river.
Right.
Do you know what time they're going to do that? Do you know the time of anything?
I've not seen any information. Okay. I'm guessing that they would include me. It's going to be a small group. but it'll
Okay.
probably be the head of the VFW and the American Legion, the police chief, and maybe the two supervisors and me. And I don't know who else they would do. We would obviously keep our distance, wear masks, that type of thing. But Ryan McMahon had a great point yesterday. He said a lot of the people that we honor on Memorial Day are people who went out to fight so that people wouldn't limit our freedoms. And right now we're understanding how important that is because our freedoms are being limited for whatever you think, whether it's a right or wrong reason. We can't do everything we want to do right now, but you can remember Memorial Day. I would ask people to individually remember it. You can go to the cemetery and put flowers on graves of loved ones. Excuse me. But it's a great time to get your flag out. If you don't have a flag, get a flag. And let's have the village just have tons of American flags blowing in the breeze for Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Just to let people that are still living, veterans, that type, see that we haven't forgotten those that gave their lives. So let me see if there's anything else that I didn't want to forget to mention. Canal, we already talked about. It was a great weekend for the graduates. That was a terrific parade that they had on Saturday.
Yeah.
On Friday night, I guess they lit the stadium up and had something on the scoreboard. We put some, I just took our outside lights, Christmas lights, and put them on the trellis on the front of our house. There's a big glob of white light. And my wife put some candles out on the railing. And so our granddaughter and her family stopped by on their way home to see our lights. And I saw that your house was lit up and a lot of houses in the village. Thought that was terrific. And then Saturday, we saw a video of the kids driving through the school grounds, getting their caps, their tassels, their yearbooks, and a sign. But to see all the signs along the side of the road and people honking, and there was music. Somebody had a music thing set up. And
people was dancing.
I mean,
it was
it's going to
great.
make the kids feel at least like, as bad as this might feel to them, it's kind of special. Nobody else got that treatment that I can remember in all the years I've been in Baldwinsville. So that was kind of, they had their own little parade. And, you know, it's sometimes things are tough. You just kind of got to get a grip and do the best you can do. And I hope that they're feeling some of that. And I know they're talking graduations. Liverpool's talking about having one at their football stadium where people would walk in, walk around the track, get their diploma, walk out and get in their car and go home. I mean, it wouldn't be a collection of people. It would just be a brief moment, but they'd get their chance to so-called walk across the stage and get their diploma. They'd see their classmates, because I got to think that by the time you spread them around the track at 6 feet, most of the students would be on the track at the same time. So that's kind of cool. I'm guessing Baldwinsville would be looking at something like that.
I sent an email to the district.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I sent an email to the district just asking if they had plans for the prom or graduation. And they definitely, it seems like it's top of mind. They don't have anything specific yet because they can't even do a gathering of the kids until the end of the school year. You know what I mean? Like there was that, I don't understand it completely, but literally they can't congregate the kids on school property during the school year, from what I understand. And I could be wrong on that. But if they did want to do something, it would have to be, you know, later in the summer, in the fall, where maybe it would be permitted. They were talking about the junior prom being late fall, but again, they have to get the permission to have the gathering, you know, even in the fall. So so anything they plan is tentative, but at least, like you said, that's what they're thinking. Like you guys are thinking of reopening. They're thinking of how to get to the senior year. The seniors have that, you know, what can they do for them, and within the guidelines and restrictions that we all have. So.
And it's not going to be an easy decision no matter what they do, because they have more than one thing to consider. But I did see something in Candlewick where normally they put at the two entrances to Candlewick, there'll be a sign with all the seniors from our neighborhood. So somebody said, what if we did a parade with the seniors go by in the car and people stand at the end of the driveway clapping and waving, and great idea. And then somebody said, well, the fifth graders always get a moving up day. It's always a big deal. I guess one of the things the seniors are missing, and I really understand this, is they go back to their elementary school and walk down the hallway. And it's
Yeah.
really, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, but I've seen video of kids going through Reynolds, going through Eldon, and the teachers, have the doors open and the kids are out in the hallways, and the kids walk through with their cap and gowns, and the little kids are clapping for them, and teachers are seeing somebody that was one of their favorite students and giving them a hug. And that's really pretty nice stuff. And that's got to really be hard to miss that kind of stuff. If you've been dreaming, I remember when I was in Eldon and they came through and I said, someday that's going to be me. And now you miss your chance. So hopefully all these little things will give a little touch of.
Did you see the Facebook page that some of the seniors from Baker created?
No.
It's graduate to graduate. It's the senior graduating class reaching out to the 5th grade graduating class.
Oh, wow.
And it just got started. It's just a couple days old, but I know that Paige Rocker was one of the girls involved. Anna Conklin, there's a boy named Aiden. There's a handful of kids that are putting this together. So it's only in the first couple days of it, but I thought that was amazing that those seniors thought back to the 5th grade, just what you said. They thought back to the 5th graders and the 5th grade moving up day, because they're losing the 5th grade moving up day too, and everybody's focused on the high school seniors. That was a huge deal to my kids when they were in 5th grade, that 5th grade moving up day. So I'm glad you touched on that. I forgot that, Paige and those guys had created this Facebook page. So I'll share it to my page. I think I might have already done it, but
Okay.
I'll put more information out there about it. But I thought that was so sweet.
It's nice because you'll hear people talk about how selfish kids are today. And, I think this brings out the truth and the real people, and it's all been good in that regard. So
Yeah.
That's nice. Just one last reminder that all of our offices are open by phone. The police department, our village clerk, continues to get a lot of calls. Codes, Greg continues to be busy with outdoor inspections and that type of stuff. Canton Woods' phone is always going to get answered, and they can forward you on to Meals on Wheels if you don't know how to get a hold of them. And the police department's been busy. So don't hesitate to call. Not a brush week coming up. We got the week off from brush, but a lot of other things are getting done. So I'll take a deep breath and say, I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, while you contemplate that, there was another question about Canton Woods. So I just want to say, if someone goes back probably to about 10 minutes into this video, you kind of covered how the social distancing struggle is real and things that they're going to try and overcome it. Because someone did just, Mary Frances actually was talking about that. Because people miss having Canton Woods open. So, it was probably a big part of their lives, like you said, with the cards and all that. So I'll be curious as they make developments, what they do.
It's kind of hard to believe when I hear people, complain too much about the social distancing or masks. I mean, we've had nobody visiting in our house since March. We've not been in anybody else's house. Not happy about it. I mean, we're social people. I've been in Village Hall 4 times after hours to sign papers and that type of stuff. Just again, not just for me, but for them. It's not easy, but my goodness, we have had a couple people come and visit where they sat probably 10, 12 feet down the sidewalk and we stay on the porch. I've seen people like on opposite sides of driveways, 2 lawn chairs on one side, 2 on the other.
Yeah.
Probably a glass of wine in their hand, and neighbors come over, let's
Yeah.
visit, but you got the whole driveway in between. It's different. I'm sure all through life. And how about World War II when you couldn't, you had to turn in all your metal to be melted down for ammunition, and there was a lot of food not available. I mean, it's a little harder to get your groceries sometimes, but I haven't heard of anybody not being able to get what they need now. I mean, in the beginning, it was a crush. Enjoy the sunshine and the good stuff, and try not to always dwell on somebody's trying to, steal my rights away. I mean,
And do that. Sometimes it's passive aggressive, I guess, but sometimes there is something funny on Facebook. I'll share something that made me laugh as we wrap up if you want. because I'm in real estate, and we can work, but we can't work, right? So we're limited. So one of the co-agents I work with, she's at a different brokerage, but she posted, I can't see my parents, but I can't go to my parents' house, but I can go in a seller's home. So I think I'm going to put my parents' house on the market so I can visit them.
I do have to say a shout out. I'm sure she's probably not watching because she's probably not on Facebook. But Louise Wilkinson turned 102 yesterday at Canton Woods. And we had a proclamation when she turned 100, and they had a big party for her. She's a sweet gal. I graduated with her daughter from high school. Her son lives in Candlewick, and they had pictures yesterday of them through the glass with her corsage on, a big smile, and her son's reflection in the glass. So, I mean, it wasn't what they wanted. They couldn't hug her, but you know what? She was smiling, and a big smile. So her day was special, different but special. So there are ways that you can, go to the senior residences and knock on a window and say, "Hi, Mom. Hopefully in a couple months we'll be seeing you. Take care of yourself." She had all kinds of little gifts and flowers and, special day. So it's nice to know that when people try, they can somehow make these celebrations work. So I would just ask people to make it work. So
and that's a good way to kind of wrap up this week. So well, thank you as always. And it's nice that, like we talked about last week, in the village there's always something happening. So unless something strange happens, I'm assuming we'll talk next Wednesday for another update.
Oh yes, and our village board meeting will be live tomorrow night at 7:30 on
Facebook,
the Village of Baldwinsville Facebook page.
Okay.
So people want to watch the meeting, just want to remind them. It's always awkward with, we have like 15 people, 13 people all on the screen, and it's hard to know who wants to talk next. And we got to do something better with the pledge of the flag, because we all tried to do it at the same time. And because of the delay, some people were together, some people were 2 or 3 seconds behind. So this week I may pick somebody to do it, like in high school, "Hey, Joey, you get to say the pledge today."
Yeah.
And we'll hold the flag up and do it a little smoother. But
well,
7:30.
Another idea just to throw out there is, if you mute everybody except for him, then you can see everybody's mouth going, but you only hear him. So that way everybody can say it, but the audience is only hearing the one person talk. So
that's a good idea. We'll talk about that during our work session before we actually have our meeting. So great. Thank you.
Sure. Well, it's nice.
Learn something every day. That should be our goal.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Shelley.